Do you want to empower your reproductive health and make informed choices for a healthier future? Do you find yourself up late at night searching for healthy, natural fertility tips, improved hormonal balance, and reduced environmental toxins? Do you wake up with big, ambitious goals only to feel overwhelmed and frustrated when health challenges and societal pressures pile up again? Today, we're going to discuss integrative practices focusing on diet, detoxification, and holistic wellness. In this podcast, you'll discover the importance of lifestyle changes, comprehensive hormonal workups, and the supportive community so that you can feel empowered and informed about your reproductive health journey. So let's dive in. Welcome to another powerful episode of the Discovery Doc Podcast. I'm your host, medical mystery overachiever, Anna Kate, alongside my co-host, functional medicine toxin tamer, Dr. CeCe, Doctor of Nursing Practice. And we're going to bring you today's insight from episode 16. Have you ever wondered how simple lifestyle changes could significantly boost your fertility in just 90 days? Join us in this episode as we explore Dr. Natalie's groundbreaking approach that helped one woman turn her dream of pregnancy into reality. We're going to visit 3 segments: lifestyle and fertility, birth control misconceptions, and the importance of comprehensive women's health education. So stay tuned and let's discover together.
I would love to, because we touched on it a little bit, but I would love to hear, yes, I think it's worthwhile for people to hear this multiple times over, because one quick thing before you proceed forward on that is I wish that in like our sex education in 5th, 6th, 7th grade, that it was taken seriously to teach women about their bodies. That, okay, teach sex education because it's becoming of age where you are going to get your cycle. And so here's how you prevent getting pregnant type of thing. But why not use that time to grab girls and say, hey, this is what your body naturally does. This is the timing of it. I have grown women who don't understand that a cycle is 28, 30 days. They think their cycle is when they're bleeding. And that's understand when they're ovulating, and it's not until you really get to more thinking about having children that now needs to be on the forefront of learning, oh, this is when I ovulate. Not everybody ovulates on day 15. I ovulate at 21, but it's about finding that knowledge about your body, and girls just are not exposed to that, and so they're just set up for failure in terms of understanding how their bodies operate, and therefore they can't regulate it when it comes to avoiding getting pregnant. So I would love to see that education implemented way earlier in the system. But yes, please dive deep into the side effects of birth control. And I'm such a huge proponent that anybody who is being put on it should be read off. Hey, these are the risks. This is what can happen, and it just doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I can't agree with you more about the need for education at a younger age in our science classes, in, whatever classes that are being taught, sex ed, whatever. We had classes in high school that barely taught us anything, right? But this should be taught even younger, I think, in an appropriate manner, obviously. But girls and women of all ages just do not know about their bodies and what's normal and what's not normal with their bodies. I mean, I didn't even know, as almost a doctor, I didn't even know a lot of the things I know now. And to me now it's common knowledge, but I look back and I'm like, I didn't know this when I was an undergrad, I knew very minimally. Like, I didn't get off birth control till I was 22 or 21. So I was on it, maybe it was 22, on it all those years. And I didn't know that, I'll go into the side effects because, I didn't know that migraines that I was having on a regular basis were driven by the birth control pill. I didn't know that these mood swings I was having were driven by the birth control pill. I didn't know that, my cycles were significantly heavier than they needed to be, or more painful than they needed to be because of the pill. I also didn't understand that I was taking a synthetic hormone. So there's so many risks in itself that come with synthetic hormones if they're not used properly, right? But I think the biggest side effects, to think about are things like micronutrient deficiencies, which can be lifetime or longer term issues, right? If they're not corrected, they can be lifetime issues. But those micronutrient deficiencies have a ripple effect into every area of our body, from our thyroid to our blood sugar to our digestion, our ability to make stomach acid, the way our brain operates. Our our micronutrients they impact every single function in our body and cofactors in our body and things like that, all these biological processes. And when we don't have enough of those nutrients, it's really hard for our body to just function at a normal capacity. So in my case, I was thrown on birth control at 14 because of the symptoms I was having, which were PCOS. So what I'm seeing in the PCOS space is that birth control is masking a lot of the symptoms of PCOS. And a lot of women are not even aware they have PCOS because of the birth control pill. If you want to hear more about PCOS, go listen to our last episode. But that's an issue with the pill in itself, is it's masking other issues. Women think that they're okay and their hormones are normal, their cycles are normal, and they're just really not. Another thing it affects is obviously the integrity of our gut and our gut health. And that is the epitome of our immune system, right? Everything starts from the gut. Our mental health, our neurotransmitters, everything kind of originates from this microbiome in our gut. And when that's disrupted, it's going to cause problems all throughout the body. Thyroid hormone conversion is largely happening in the gut and the liver. And when those areas are affected and disrupted, this can affect other processes in the body, which can in turn affect ovulation and pregnancy rates, and indirectly can be potentially causing fertility issues. It's maybe a stretch to say the birth control pill causes infertility, but if you look at it from kind of a broad lens, it potentially could be, with the ripple effect of what's happening from micronutrient deficiencies to gut-related issues to thyroid-related issues to ovulation dysfunction. Because what happens is when you're on the pill, this connection between the brain and the ovary is severely disconnected. And women have a hard time reestablishing that connection, sometimes for up to a year or more. And so their bodies are having a hard time connecting in multiple ways. They're not producing the hormones that they need to, because the body has been so disconnected from this normal reproductive rhythm that it just doesn't know what to do. And so a lot of women are being told, stay on the pill until the month you want to get pregnant, and then you're your most fertile, which is just not true at all from what I am seeing across the board. If you're on the pill and you're listening to this, you need to give yourself at least a year off of the pill. I always say at least a year, because you've got to rebuild, you've got to repair that gut lining, you've got to, replenish your nutrients. You have to do all this stuff, replenish B vitamins, which are severely depleted by the pill, and zinc and magnesium. And so you really need to give your body a period of healing. And that's just not promoted in the conventional space. And start there. What you can control first that goes in your body. Maybe do it month by month, right? And think tampons, they go in your body as well. Like you're absorbing that bleach and dioxins and all the chemicals that come in conventional tampons. So that I kind of included in that first category. If you're using a menstrual cup, make sure that it's a high quality cup. It doesn't have chemicals and things like that in it. When you're going to choose foods, choose higher quality foods whenever you can, right? Like look up the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen if you need somewhere to start, and get an idea of what foods you should be focusing on buying organic if you can. Choose a grass-fed meat over a grain-fed meat, things like that, which are really going to affect the entire body. And don't neglect healthy fats. I think a lot of women still, the 90s really ruined us. We're
busters.
The freaking 90s, I'm telling you. A lot of women are still not eating enough quality healthy fats with like omega-3s from wild-caught salmon and wild-caught fish, healthy nuts and seeds, avocados, quality fats like grass-fed butter. I think a lot of those quality fats are like building blocks of our hormones. And if we don't have enough of that, how can we expect to make healthy hormones?
Are you or do you know a mother-to-be? Transform your pregnancy and postpartum journey with the Ultimate Pregnancy and Postpartum Guide. Discover a wealth of essential resources and practical tips for healthy and joyful experience. This 30-page comprehensive guide is packed with must-have supplements, safe healing modalities, nourishing recipes, and expert advice to support you during pregnancy and beyond. This guide includes 2 exclusive bonuses. Bonus number 1, Home Birth Essentials Checklist. Ensure a smooth and stress-free home birth experience. Bonus number 2, Navigating Mastitis Naturally. Explore natural remedies to alleviate discomfort and promote healing. Don't miss out on this invaluable resource. Download the Ultimate Pregnancy and Postpartum Guide today and embrace a holistic approach to motherhood.
So that's a big pillar that, especially for fertility, but hormones in general, and hormones and fertility go hand in hand, they're being neglected. So when we incorporate more of those healthy fats, I typically see women feel better, their hormones feel better, or look better. And then really prioritizing rest. So making sure you're getting not just sleep every night, but quality sleep every night. So sleeping, depending on what you need, between 8 and 9 hours, dark, cold room, wearing a sleep mask, diffusing essential oils if you need to relax at night, things like that create a really nice, healthy sleep environment. I think a lot of people just look at it like a task they have to get off their list. Okay, I'm going to go to bed today. I'm going to wake up, do the next thing. I like to make it like a whole routine. Like my husband and I, we put essential oils on our backs. We put them on our feet. We diffuse things. Like we have special lighting we use at night. We wear our blue light blocking glasses. Like it's a whole process that it's so important though. Like a lot of people are just neglecting this. Standard Americans are neglecting rest, and they're not prioritizing it. And then understanding that if you are tired, not to push too hard, not to push yourself through certain phases of your cycle before you start your period. You might need extra rest. You might need extra nutrients, and that's okay. And then the last thing really, I think, would be reducing stress as much as possible. So this might look like stressful relationships. This might look like stressful jobs. This might look like taking things off your plate that are creating financial stressors. We talk about this with our patients. Like we had one gal that was working 3 jobs, and we're like, do you financially need to work 3 jobs? And she's like, no. And we're like, we're going to require you get rid of one of them if you want to continue.
Adequately necessary to stop.
Yeah. We're like, you cannot work 7 days a week. Like this is not happening. She was a mess. She was a complete wreck. And we're like, you need to take a stressor off of your plate, right? Toxic relationships are just as toxic as toxins in our environment. So evaluate. This is something I actually did to heal my hormones. It sounds ridiculous, but my husband and I went through a phase where we cut out basically, and this is in my husband's early part of his mold journey, we cut out basically everyone from our lives. Everyone in our circle that was not contributing to our health, our happiness, our longevity. And this was 99% of the people in our life, down to like our Bible study group. That was it. Like that was totally it. And so what we did was we started to cultivate and build new relationships after that went along with our core values and our health values, because having friends that are pressuring you to go out and drink and stay out late and do these things that just don't serve your long-term goals, or let's say they don't eat like you and you feel pressured around them to eat unhealthy inflammatory foods, sometimes you either need to set really healthy boundaries, or you need to evaluate those relationships and think, is this really a relationship that's going to lead me to the next phase of my health journey that I want to be in, which ultimately is going to contribute to longevity, fertility, hormone balance, whatever it may be. So, but a cool story I have is one of my favorite couples I've ever worked with. They're just like, they have like my heart. I love them so much. They came to me, and the wife had endometriosis and had been through several rounds of infertility. And they came to me very skeptical. They'd done all the things, spent all the money on all the things. And one of my first things that I did with them, I didn't put them in any supplements, which I love, by the way, love supplements, but I had them modify their diet first and had like a fertility friendly diet. And in my investigation, I found out that the wife had those little Bath and Body Works wallflowers, those fragrance diffusing, like puffy, whatever wallflowers all over her house, in like every room of her house. And I said, you're going to hate me right now. I said, but you need to go today, remove all those fragrances from your house and get rid of them. And I swear they thought I was crazy because I just had them do 2 changes. I was like, these are all the things I want you to do. Just by doing those 2 changes, within a month, she had a normal cycle. First normal cycle. She hadn't had periods like for 9 months at a time. And I'm like, okay, so step 1, right? Then we had a better idea of what her labs were doing, and we were able to go in and modify with supplements and things like that and support her body. But the two biggest things were diet and environmental toxins. And 90 days after that, she was pregnant. So it's pretty cool to see those direct impacts. And that's just one of many that I've seen that has happened like that. So it's really cool to know that you can make these really, really simple, small changes and see these huge results, which doesn't seem possible when you're in the thick of it, and you may have already done those two specific things I just mentioned, but there might be two other little things that you have to do that are just as easy as those other two. And it's just figuring out where in your life you need to tweak that you can see the results.
And I'm noticing a pattern in these episodes so far.
I know, right? And finding
toxins.
Yeah.
Well, making small little changes in every area. I mean, it's like Pete and repeat. We're sitting on a log. Pete fell off, and who was left? And you're here repeating what we've been saying for the last 4 or 5 episodes as well. Just those small little changes
they matter so much.
Yes.
And I think that it's just really great for people to hear, because it can be very overwhelming when you're in the thick of it. It can be so overwhelming if you've been trying to conceive for, a year and a half, and just knowing and being given hope that, hey, other people are there too. You just have to find the right person that can help navigate what is your thing. What is the thing that is holding you back specifically, and navigate all aspects of that patient's life to then help their hormonal health. I mean, it's absolutely massive. Kind of switching gears a little bit. I would love to talk about pregnancy a little bit, since it helps so many women become pregnant. And are most of those women, for starters, are most of those women who struggle with infertility, then start working with you, and the goal is to conceive? Is that usually where you catch women?
Yeah, for the most part. It's sad to say, but we are usually the last stop. We are usually the last train stop people come to, and they are pretty discouraged, but at the same time open to try anything because they've already done it all. But yeah, that is kind of the state that they're in when they come to us. They have usually been through a couple rounds of fertility treatments of some kind, and they've been diagnosed with infertility, or they're trying naturally on their own at home and it's just not working, and they're proactive and smart enough to know something's just not right. And I love those clients that they just know, I want to go the natural route first and figure out, are there these simple little tweaks, or do I have to put my body through 5 rounds of IVF to find out that I just need to unplug my wallflowers? You know what I mean? Like, it's
so simple.
It is so simple.
It really can. It really can. And I mean, there's, once again, no fault on women. This conversation should be had at their first fertility appointment. It should never have gone beyond that, in my opinion. But that's just not how conventional fertility is, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. So then on the flip side, do you have then women also coming to you who have been through multiple rounds of IVF, and you're evaluating those women and you're like, okay, we are going to start from here and just re-look at you. What I say to patients is, my job, once they get to me, because it's very similar, is to look at what nobody else has.
Yes.
To find out, what are we missing here? Because there's clearly something missing if you're still symptomatic or things aren't, optimal like they should be. So when it comes to pregnancy, get your best kind of general tips on what to avoid, what to implement. How can we generally set ourselves up for success when pregnant?
Yeah. So I love that question. Doing all the things we already talked about, all the simple changes we already talked about a few minutes ago, having a really good support system around you who's going to help you implement those changes.
Spread the love. Share this episode and leave a 5-star rating. If you enjoyed this episode, help us spread the love by sharing it with your friends and family. And don't forget to show your appreciation with a 5-star rating. It really makes all the difference. Leave a review and let us know your aha moment from this episode. Before you go, this is the part where we have to get a little serious. Just a little. Please remember that the information shared in this podcast is for general informational and entertainment purposes only. While we strive to provide accurate and helpful information, we're not here to replace your doctor or healthcare provider. Think of us as your friendly health enthusiast gal pals who love sharing what we know, but always remember to consult with a qualified medical professional before taking any action based on the content of this podcast. And just like the Pirates Code, this disclaimer may change from time to time, so be sure to check back for updates. Stay healthy, stay happy, and don't forget to laugh. It's good for you.